Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of The Worst Heroes You Know, a Tales of the Valley and actual play sponsored by Kobold Press and premiering right here in its entirety on whichever platform you happen to be watching it on, including but not limited to YouTube, Twitch, and iCarly.com. As always, I am HamaSamaKun, your dungeon master for this evening, and before we get into the continuation of our party's story, let's get to know them, shall we? Starting with Kappa, tell the people who you are and who you're playing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kappa, Christian's OK2. I use any pronouns, and today I am playing Artur. Using he, him pronouns, our not vampire boy. He's got issues.
That he does. Take it away, Sam.
Hi, I am Sam, pronouns she, her, and I play Odd. Just a little druid, also pronouns she, her.
Lovely. Lamar.
She, last is both, neither, and everyone in between. I'm Lamar. I go by Lamar the Con Guy. I go by he, him pronouns. I am playing our lovely, dear, and completely sane Nana Maisel. She is some type of fighter, I think.
You think.
At this point.
And bringing us home, C.
I got so enamored by Kappa's little apple juice. I forgot what I was doing. Hi everyone, my name is C. I use they them pronouns, and you can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet. C Plays RPG. Tonight I'm playing the big goth let me try again. The big goth bird nun, Omen, who also uses they them pronouns. And Omen has more problems than they did before this campaign started, which I think is a problem in and of itself. So
it just compounds. The problem
the problems have
into a further
gotten
problem.
Worse. The problem has sprouted several new legs, and now there's more problems.
Problem spider.
Problem spider, unfortunately.
Well, with all that out of the way, pull up a seat, dear viewer, DoorDash a meal, because cooking is hard, and allow us to tell you the tale of the worst heroes you know. Part 4. Never meet your heroes. You are falling deep into the cold embrace of unconscious thought. Oh, to sleep, perchance to dream, to drift, to decay in sweet delirium. And in what fleeting comfort can be found, the feeling of betrayal hangs heavy on your heart. There's nothing for you here. There never was. Because the thing about failure is that at least it's consistent. So I ask, what do you think about in your last moments of consciousness as you watch the man responsible for all of this walk away? We'll start with Odd.
I think Odd doesn't take it all in initially. I think hearing it is more so, they've got to be joking. This isn't happening. And that warmth and joy that she tends to feel and exude for others stops abruptly. It feels like a sickening clamminess come over her. And standing there, she looks at the ground and almost watching the body language through y'all's leg and feet movement to see how everyone else is reacting. But her thoughts are almost blank right now. She feels numb.
Nana Maisel, what are you thinking about prior to falling unconscious?
Blinding rage fills her entire body. The inability to destroy the problem, finally seeing defeat after all these years for the dumbest reason, would make Nana completely feral. And the only thing preventing her from truly burning everything to the ground is that there are 3 people who need to survive. And so Nana hasn't accepted defeat. She's trying to fight for her very last breath. And she curses death for being a coward to not face her properly.
And as you sort of rampage through the room trying to find a way out, you swear you can see something just out of the corner of your eye. A pair of eyes through this thick fog that's begun to seep into the room. But those eyes vanish just as soon as you blink. And that brings us to Artur. What are you thinking about?
I think the only thing that is overshadowing the hopelessness and despair of this discovery is the realization that he's only been playing at hopelessness and despair this whole time. He thinks he understood what it is to be in dismay with the state of the world, but now seeing the curtain get pulled back and just how small he is in the grand scheme of things, in comparison to the machinations of the system, the society he lives in, is the reality. That realization is weighing heavy.
And eventually that feeling becomes too much, and this sort of pervasive darkness, one that you once found comfort in, starts to drown you almost. As finally we come to Omen, who admittedly has a bit more stake in the situation, as it was revealed your own family had something to do with this. What is Omen thinking about?
Omen is thinking about the taste of a burning shell on their tongue. They're thinking about the smell of incense. They're thinking about the gleam of silver over a ritual mask. They're thinking about what it was like to be born from an egg. They're thinking about what it's like to look at every single one of their grandmother's wrinkles and to know that everything they've ever tasted in their life was a lie. Every prayer, every message sent to the Reaper, every hope, every dream, every prophecy they touched in their mind burns up like ritual paper and smoke, like a broken shell, and something terrible being born from it. Something they don't recognize.
With that, consciousness becomes a burden you can no longer shoulder. And as you collapse to the ground, that feeling of stone, cold and polished, pressed against each of your skin, you savor that last sensation, and everything goes dark. However, in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, a visitor most auspicious reveals themselves. Your eyes flutter closed, and it feels like you're drowning, thrashing against the waves, against your own weakness, until eventually you just sink, embraced by shadow and death. And then you wake, staring up into the night sky at a full moon, each of you laying side by side in a shallow grave. What do you do?
You say we all wake up?
Yes, sort of one by one. Can't necessarily see each other, but there is that understanding that you are in each other's company. Each of you are in an individual grave, just caught staring up into the moon.
Hello?
Odd, is that you?
Yeah. Is it just us two? Is anybody else out there?
I'm
I
here
don't-
too.
Okay. Nana? Is Nana here?
Nana.
You guys at this point would hear quiet kind of weeping, followed by a thank the heavens. Okay. I'm here, my dears.
Thank goodness.
And Nana will sit up to try to get out of their grave. And I'm
Like I said,
assuming-
it's a shallow grave, so it doesn't take much. As you sit up, you're already kind of above ground level. You just sort of pull yourself out, and there you all are.
Nana will immediately reach her hand out to get each one of you out of the grave in a kind of a desperation. And it will give you a quick hug before moving to the next one. Immediately going into a caretaker mode. It's like, oh, are you okay? And she will go to each and every one of you, like grab your cheeks and spread your skin out, looking for any marks, any issues. Like, tries to open your mouth. It's like, say, are you okay? Are you okay?
Nana, no, just I'm fine, but no.
It's dirty.
Morn keeps looking at the moon. And they've never hated a celestial body before, but they're trying really hard right now. Because it's full. Just like they saw. You know, Nana Maisel,
Yes, my dear.
I think I have anxiety.
Yes, my dear.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it feels like. I think I have anxiety too.
The thing about anxiety, it is in all living creatures that desire to live. It is a trained muscle, simply too strong for the body it's in. Anxiety is there to prevent you from harm. Unfortunately, sometimes it creates issues that are not there. Discipline and grounding keeps that muscle to a way that protects you versus hurts you. So, in this particular case, while you do have anxiety, that feeling right now is probably justified.
What do we do now? Where are we? What's...
I don't know.
Emma does a quick look around.
I'd look
It's
around
real?
as well.
It's kind of hard to tell. As you look around, the first thing you note is just how sort of empty it feels. There's, the somewhat, like, inconsistencies in the ground around you, the sort of packed dirt. You have the 4 graves by your feet. And off in the distance is this sort of gnarled skeletal tree, the single branch that hangs over. The sky is a sort of mix of deep purples and blues that seem to swirl almost in a Van Gogh-like style. And then there's just the moon, looking at you like a pale, lonely eye, shining its silver light on all 4 of you. But the thing you notice is just how numb you are. Sort of, you can feel the sensation of touch, but the sort of texture to it, the warmth is gone. There's no air, there's no breeze, there's no warmth. It's just the 4 of you.
Are we dead?
I don't think so.
This is not exactly how this move or ability works, but I do have occult studies, and I am a warlock of the Reaper. Are we dead?
I'll give it to you. As far as you can tell, you very well might be.
We might be dead.
Odd would respond, what?
No, we might be dead. This is not a place where living things go, I think.
So they killed us.
No. But you might be dead, yes. But the three of you, no. And you see Nana immediately going around, and she'll immediately grab Artie's chest and close her eyes. It's like, you're alive, and will cast Cure Wounds upon you. It will not allow it, and she will actually fully embrace all of it into you. It will not until she has no more left. You are alive. You will not follow me here. No.
Do I
place
feel?
a hand.
Do I feel anything?
You again feel the sensation of Nana Maisel's hand on your chest. You can feel them grab your collar, but that sort of familiar sensation of healing magic that usually washes over you. It's like a small ember that eventually is snuffed out before it can find purchase and create this sort of mighty flame. It is just... It dies before it can get to you.
I grab Nana's arm on me without removing it, just like, it's not working.
No. Not like this. No.
At least, I mean, and I'll look over to Omen and Odd, just like, but maybe we're not. Maybe it's just weird here.
It feels like a between space. It's Nana, and Omen doesn't like seeing Nana like this. It pings something deep in their heart, where I think they kind of get down a little bit lower. And if Nana Maisel is there, allows the tactile touch, the sensation. We're maybe dead, but maybe not dead also. If we were dead, we wouldn't be here like this, I think.
You must live. You must be. Nana is taking deep breaths and trying to you see Nana's trying to find a solution, looking around. And just kind of finds herself looking at all three of you in the eyes. And just goes, "You should not have come. I knew it was too dangerous. I wanted you to feel like the way I see you three. I'm sorry. I should have let you better."
Don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong at all. Odd's gonna quickly run up and wrap her arms around what portion of her body she can. And just as she holds you, squeezing you tight, maybe putting you a little bit off balance for a moment. Please don't ever blame yourself like that, okay? You've taken great care of us. And, as Omen said, and she's going to pull away, we're not sure if we're dead. So, there's still hope. Right?
Right. Yes. Right.
Right.
Nana Maisel.
Yes, my dear.
You took care of us when very few people would. Maybe we can take care of you now.
I
Omen
Thank
offers a hand.
Nana will take it and use it to get back to her feet. Omen, the reason why your visions are a little left of center is because the heart does not have eyes.
No, the eyes are in the here.
She'll pat your hand, goes, yes, they are, my dear. Yes, they are. Okay, well, small breakdown. Anxiety. Lovely demonstration. I don't know what to do. I've never gotten this close to death before.
It's okay.
Artur, you
Yeah.
walk the line between life and death as a vampire.
Even if we are undead, what are we gonna do? They're the Platinum Cross. They have the reverence and adoration of all the land. And we're pest control. No one's gonna believe us.
Well,
I'm
we're
gonna-
really good pest control. Elizabeth will believe us. And
But we put Elizabeth in danger.
there's a twist, a push and pull of Omen's head back and forth. Looking at the moon and then looking at the second vision, the changeling person. What if we had proof? What if we had proof? Okay, who would have thought that the Sovereign would have sent us on this mission in the first place? It's not an unreasonable person. And if everyone has been lied to, all they need to see is the truth. The thing about prophecy is that it is true in a way. You just have to reframe how you think about it. And the Platinum Cross has been doing a lot of reframing, has been doing a lot of pushing and pulling. What about their helper? That person.
They're going to have a new quest. And they're going to need him to do it again.
If we were able to convince them to come with us, we could go before the Sovereign with proof, with indelible proof, with the very person that the Platinum Cross has been using to do this.
That is a less. That plan adds less bloodshed than what I was particularly thinking, but it could work.
How do we get to that point from here?
We have to stop being maybe dead.
Odd would like to look around. How to stop being maybe dead.
Roll me a
There's like
perception
a
check.
pull the lever crunk. Okay.
There's just an off and on switch between life and death.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Is there
I
a
didn't mean
big
to turn
red
it off.
button.
Perception?
Yes.
21.
With a 21, you look around, and while you may not find a on-off button or a switch or a lever to miraculously bring yourselves back from where you are now, you do see a flash of dull gray feathers dart towards the tree.
I'm gonna grab Omen's like robes. There's a bird.
Huh?
I saw. Where did it? I think it went to the tree.
You saw a bird?
I saw a bird. It
Okay.
was gray,
A gray bird?
or maybe it was white. And since it was going so fast, maybe it blended in a little bit with the back and got muddied. But it was around that color palette.
That
Bird.
direction.
Yeah, the tree.
I'm gonna start going.
You
Woman's still helping Nana Maisel.
Nana's to her feet and let's go, my dear.
Odd would
sort
be
of
showing you
start
the
to
way.
give chase. You spot the bird fairly easily. You track it as the four of you begin to give chase. And as you try to catch up to it, it always remains just out of reach until eventually you make it to the tree and it perches itself on a branch. And Omen, as you get there, you recognize the bird. It's Always, who looks down at you with those sort of blank pigeon expression that starts to sort of nod towards the base of the tree and 4 shovels.
Always. Wait, I sent you up to get help. What are you doing here? No, I know it's been a really hard and stressful day. It's just I need you to what are you?
Looks down at the 4 shovels, kind of more insistently.
Do you want us to grab a shovel?
Fight to the death?
I'm gonna grab a shovel
Same.
and like I'm not gonna hit Odd, but I'm like, this is what you want us to do?
Careful.
I did not know.
Kind of starts motioning down towards where the shovels were, and you see a sort of patch of like newly placed dirt.
Okay. I'm gonna
Is there an odd size shovel?
Yes.
Are they all the same size? Okay.
No, there's an outside shovel.
3
She walks
shovels
over
and
to-
a beach shovel.
Yeah, she gets a trowel out of the ground.
Oh my god. So,
gonna start uncovering the spot that
alrighty. So as the 4 of you begin to dig, kind of packing the dirt, starting to move it out of the way, almost in this sort of frantic search for answers, you eventually uncover what Always was hinting at. And as you finally hear a familiar tink of like metal on glass, you start to push the dirt away and eventually reveal what appears to be a set of glass doors. Though what rests on the other side seems to be almost obfuscated by this sort of stained glass texture to them.
Now
I must admit, this is. I haven't seen something new in quite a while, and this is new. but the door is always a door.
Just
And
have
this-
to open it. Do we want to?
Before you ask that question, Nana pulls open the door.
It takes a little bit more strength than you had thought originally, as it's still sort of compacted with the dirt that you removed, but eventually you pry the doors open and come tumbling into a greenhouse. For those of you watching in the audience, it almost sort of warps perspective as they fall into it only to find themselves upright.
Whoa.
And
That
you can
was
see,
really cool.
and you can see all around you is a greenhouse, but the site is more akin to a cathedral than a traditional greenhouse. Each individual glass panel that makes up the structure consists of stained glass depictions of each of your lives. So, before we get into what is in the greenhouse, I just want to ask each of you, of these panels that depict important key moments, things that are formative to the person you are or want to become, what stands out the most to you? We'll start with opposite order. Omen.
I think there, in one of these panels, there is a depiction of Omen, and the glass is dark and black with these like wings spanning out around them. They're like reaching up, and at the top of the stained glass, there's like a piece. It almost looks like instead of stained glass, there's a piece of silver. Is the day they received their mask, the day that they had their very first omen, their first prophecy. And they remember that day so very clearly, and how they were accepted for the first time into the flock, into the fold, and how that day was also so very bittersweet. Receiving their mask and receiving the first of many, many stares of disappointment and confusion. A double-edged sword made of silver.
Artur.
The glass window for Artur depicts a scene of joy, a scene of triumph, success, but it's not him that it seems to be the subject of it. It's other people, one of which y'all would recognize as Brina, and two other figures that I don't think any of you would recognize, but a man, woman, but lower than that in the foreground, the bright colors, the let's say like the whites and the golds and the warm tones give way. The lower half of the window is cooler, darker colors depicting Artur. A little bit looking on, feeling the facial emotion there is sadness, maybe envy, but it's distinct in that the group is all together, smiles, and Artur is separate from them quite a ways.
Nana Maisel.
You would see an artwork of one very armor-clad lady, hair going straight back as if it was in an action motion, sword swinging down. Behind them is a castle on fire, and many bodies laid on the ground. She stands on top of a pile of bones. But opposite of there is another lady wearing purple robes, holding but a shield to block the strike coming in. But behind this one are smiling faces of different ages and races and heights. Some embracing this protector in one way, and others simply walking away from her. But on top of both of them is a tapestry of a skeletal creature seeming to puppet them slowly. One is pushing energy into the strike, and the other is pulling energy away from the shield maiden.
And finally, Odd.
Odd's panel, there's an ambivalence to it because it's almost patchwork-esque in the way that a glass formation could be. It's comprehensive when it comes to the granular and diminutive details that are within it. As you might see on the side, a group of small halflings in one section of this patch, a little bit cut off as if the picture isn't fully recognizable. And you've got Odd sitting there and excited and like almost as if telling a story before it moves on to this next patchwork. And you see that halfling group that were across as a group of cubs, little baby wolves. And Odd is not. She's what's familiar to the group. It could be one or the other, but she turns into that chicken. And at first, she seems fine with it. It's like, well, look what I can do. But it's not as efficacious as it was meant to be. And so she tries to make light of it. And in this next patch, it's almost ripped apart, in a sense, jagged edges. It becomes that scene of Odd alone in her form and holding up an egg. It's the most pragmatic thing that she could come to. And you could see, if you're looking down like a bird's eye view, a skillet with an egg cooking. She's working on finding the path that is meant for her, so that if the chicken is the option, it's not as pernicious as it was each time.
As the four of you stand there, taking it all in, watch as the door to the greenhouse slowly swings closed behind you. And you begin to hear a gentle tune permeate the air. Sitting with their back to you, on the other side of the room, appears to be a figure dressed in black, harmonizing just a little off-key with the music while they feed seeds to a three-headed crow. Upon your approach, they speak in a tritone voice, the most prevalent pitch being an almost childlike resonance as they say, "It's one of my favorite pieces, written by a bard long, long ago. Of course, it was unfortunately never finished, but to end is to be mortal, I suppose." What do you do?
Are three-headed ravens normal?
No.
Yeah, Odd's agape, mouth agape. Just, y'all see that?
If Mort had feathers, they would have like risen, and almost like in the like very classic Ghibli way, like a kind of like rise tremble goes up through them as they lay eyes on this being, the triple-headed raven, this tritoned voice, and they like have the impulse to kneel in prayer and supplication. And I think they almost like buck, like one knee almost goes down, but they catch themselves on Nana Maisel. They catch themselves on the taste of the lie that they've been fed over and over again. The very recent sting of betrayal kind of snaps their knee back into place. Who are you?
They never once turn to face you, but as you speak out, you can sort of catch minor details that paint a clearer picture. And this is when I pass the DM hat over to you. Tell us, Omen, what does your god, the Reaper, look like?
Ah. The Reaper, as you described, comes in threes, always. They are always at once a young child, a middle-aged person in the prime of their life, and someone at the tail of their life, elderly. It's like looking at a broken mirror or a card that shifts between images. They are at once three different things. And the one thing that remains the same, and by the same I mean is a shifting constant, is the names. The names written in a language that is only known to death. The true names, the soul names of every person who has ever lived, and the name of every person who has ever died, inked in their skin, on their tongue, like strands coming out, like red thread spilling, covering them at once, woven into their clothes, woven into their hair, long, dark, made of names, made of memories, made of lives, threads pulling together. It's like they're made of thread, like they're made of cloth, and they're made of branches woven between themselves, a nest in the skin all the way up. It hurts to look at them, like looking into the parhelion that rises around an eclipse. And that's what their eyes look like. Parhelion starburst, an eclipse, with a ring of light around dark, dark iris.
And you catch just the briefest glimpse of their eyes as they continue. It's still annoying, though. And you watch as they sort of pick themselves up, and between sitting and standing, they almost start to shift in appearance, in height. And eventually, as they turn to face you, a new tone rises to the forefront, that of a young woman. Especially when you're keenly invested in the end result. But, luckily, this is not one of those times. You watch as they sort of glide about the interior, turning once more to a nearby planter box. You can see now, or hear now, the voice of an elderly man surface as they take in a smell of daffodils. Because I want to help you. But first, would you like some tea? As they sort of motion over to the table, and what was once this sort of mess of various plants, pots, and gardening tools is now just this fine, almost brunch spread, with each individual place set for the four of you.
I'm going to cautiously take a seat. I don't put any food, like I don't bring any food near me, but it's just I sit down and watch intently to see if this is this is what they wanted.
Looking at
Omen
them
goes
gives
to the
nothing away.
table.
Yeah, the
I
two-
don't want to be alone.
And offers her hand to Odd
Takes it.
and will lead them over to the table. We'll sit down
Thank you.
anytime.
They make note of that, and despite this almost sphinx-like nature to their face, not giving a single thing away, you swear that there's just the smallest uptick of their mouth. Whether it's a smirk or a smile, you're unsure.
You want to help us.
Watch as the voice shifts back, this time a young man. I've been watching you for some time, always nearby, because, in a way, I knew you would be great if given the opportunity. And yet, I still wonder, as the voice changes to an elderly woman. And for you, Omen, that voice seems a little too familiar. Why do you do what you did? Why did you do what you did? Because, well, there's your friends, your status, your guild. Those are easy reasons to throw my way. But I want to know the truth. That's now the voice of a young boy. Why did you do it?
I mean, if we do good missions, we'll get better ones, and better ones mean that we're better people.
That links us back to status, Artur. I want truth. It's not enough to be successful or famous. You must get something out of this beyond just better work. It's an endless cycle.
Is there actually tea on
Yeah.
the table? Nana will finally take a deep breath as it feels as if she's been so out of it since this has started. But finally, something she knows has locked into her brain, so she will, with some form of confidence, reach out and take the tea. And she will say, I did it because I love my children. That's simple. She'll sip the tea.
You watch as this god, more ancient than time, than reality almost, kind of cocks their head, looking over at Nana Maisel, and love is a noble gesture.
The foolish one, but it's the one I enjoy.
It is not foolish to love, Nana Maisel. Seems they take a sip of tea.
I'm saying.
It's good. It won't trap you here forever if that's what you're suspecting.
I, for once, am pleasantly happy that I don't know what to expect. I've never been in a greenhouse like this and witnessed such a unique individual as yourself. I'm actually kind of happy for once. Well, truly happy, I should say.
Unique is an interesting way of putting it.
It's the nicest one I can think of at the time.
I have been called many things, many terrible names, but I persist regardless.
Same.
Watch as they... There's almost that sort of understanding that is then sort of muddled by confusion as they look over at Odd, and finally they rest on Omen. And whether or not you're wearing the mask, these sort of eclipse-like eyes stare into you. What of you, child?
Omen had been wearing the mask. I think when they lock gazes with their god, they slide the mask down and then slide it across the table. I did it because you asked me to.
Watch as they slide a plate over to you. It's just a cookie on it. Eat. You look thin. I appreciate your candor, and it will be returned in kind. I imagine you might have questions, and I'll do my best to answer them before I get to my offer.
You said you wanted to help So why didn't you help me before? Why didn't you help me before when I needed you? Why didn't you show me anything clearly like you've shown everyone else? Why didn't you help me before? Why only now? Why only now when I can't decide if I love you or if I hate you?
Because you never needed my help, not like your family did. I gave you gifts. I gave you guidance in truly the most intimate way I can fathom. It is no burden to see disaster, to see suffering. It is an entire other matter to see moments of love, of intimacy, small moments that compound over a lifetime. As you watch as they wave their hand and the glass behind them starts to shift, and it starts bringing up various visions you've gotten in the past, things that seemed inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, but you watch almost as an entire life plays out in the background. There are moments where a sad poet composes their final poem before pursuing a life in architecture, for lack of a better term, or medicine. You see tiny moments between two lovers as they have the same argument for the 5th time that week, but always return to the same place, a place of belonging with each other. You see various disagreements between friends. You see small moments, drinks shared at a bar, until eventually all of those various shards of glass form what appears to be just a rough silhouette of you. My gifts were never meant to guide cities. My gifts were meant to appreciate the people therein. And I am sorry for what my gifts have done to you.
When Omen cries, it sounds like, at first, a little flutter of wings, and then a strange cawing out of their throat as they choke on the sob and breathe. Their teeth clatter like talons against stone, and they let the apology sit under their tongue like a piece of eggshell, sharp but comforting.
Their eyes
And they
begin to
eat the
sort of-
cookie eventually, crying a
It's
little bit.
over. Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really,
I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
it's really good. Yeah,
didn't leave a
you
crumb.
can't buy your way out of an apology with a cookie, but this one does really good, I think.
It helps
It's really
it
close.
feel a little better, at least.
Yeah. It
Then it
does.
gives a small smile and sips her tea and says, I told you it was the hot.
I don't really know what you're saying, Nana Basil. It's really confusing. I don't get it. But thanks. Thank you.
You can have as many as you'd like. As they sort of push the table, or the plate on
Whoa.
the table over. Just-
I was eating that. I'd eat one. Mmm,
Is
it's
there
good.
anything else you'd like to know?
Yeah, how to get
Comes
out
in.
of here.
In
I would like
time,
to be alive with my friends.
Well, put simply, you're not dead. Well, you will be. you are and have always been.
What?
But looking at things through a non-subjective viewpoint is difficult, especially over the course of eternity. Put simply, you will die. And that's where I come in. So, if there are no more questions, allow me to get to my offer. As they get up, and you watch as the glass begins to shift, and it presents the 5 figures of the Platinum Cross. What they're doing is not sustainable. The world needs new blood to change alongside the world, or else progress stagnates and everyone dies. As they wipe their hand across it, and that turns into the city, and the city starts to crumble. But I can help you. What happened to you was a tragedy, but a unique opportunity presents itself. And see as they once more take just a very quick swig of their tea, start to kind of twirl the glass, and I can change your fate, allow you to go back and save your group from your untimely end. What presents itself in the future is, in fact, tragedy, despair, and destruction on an unimaginable scale, with the 4 of you at its center. Continuing on your current path, they will blame you after they've killed you, and they'll use your story to snuff the light of anyone who tries to oppose them, anyone who dreams of being more. And you watch as they tap one piece of glass, and you can see the sort of ripple effect, and you see Elizabeth, not depicted in stained glass, but in what appears to be a vision. And you can see her sort of battle-hardened, the robe she wears kind of layered beneath armor, as she's trying to rush as many people of Worst House out of the city. And you see just off in the distance, as the camera pans, the 5 members of the Platinum Cross trailing behind. She kind of closes their hand, and the vision changes, and it's back to just being regular panels of stained glass. But this gift I offer does not come free of its own tragedies. To change your fate, I must remove it entirely. I will sever you from existence, separate you from all you know, and when your quest is complete, you'll join me here. As they sit, you watch as their form sort of diminishes back to that almost childlike figure. Takes a cookie.
Odd just sighs and puts her head down on the table.
Will I get to say goodbye? Have an opportunity to apologize.
I can arrange that.
Artie nods. And after a long sigh, I will go.
Watch as they look to the rest of your party.
I'm going to request that Nana does something before Artie finishes their sentence.
Sure.
Nana, before you say your final words, will splash her tea in your face. By this time, it's probably cooled down. And And then she will stand up calmly. She will look to the three of you and go, the only thing that truly defeats death is memory. Your bodies will wither. You will die. And you will cease to exist. But your fate and the memory of you will last as long as the goodness in your heart permeates those around you. Nana will look over to the god. My name is Nana Gertrude Mazel. I have lived for over 668 years. My memory will never leave this plane. Rather as a tyrant or as a savior. My life is worth more than theirs 3 times over. I offer my fate. Erase my existence and who I ever was. Erase the name, erase the titles, erase the very essence of me. So that these 3 may continue to have a life beyond their own.
Wait, no.
Shush, boy. I've existed long enough. And anyway, we still have more time together. Let's make the best of it. Remember, death shall have me when it earns me.
You see as the god speaks up. And earn you it shall. You watch as they kind of turn and start putting something together with the plants and the weeds and the flowers, kind of giving the 4 of you this time. They almost sort of turn the music up, almost to separate themselves from you, to give you this intimate moment at the edge of eternity together.
Odd would whip her head up from where she was laying down and, why are you doing that? That's being selfish. You didn't give us a choice to save you.
This is more than just that. Did you hear them? They said remove your entire existence from reality. You've lived 600 years. Who knows how much your life has impacted the rest of reality?
It's impacted us.
Yeah.
Nana
You
will
took us in when no one else would.
Nana will simply walk over to Artie and grab a piece of her robe and begin cleaning his face. It is okay. And in a way, it was selfish. I am brave enough to admit that. But I am tired. And I cannot see you 3 leave this existence in any way. I will not allow it. If it makes you feel better, you know me as Nana, a caretaker, a grandma. But that is not what is underneath this robe. That is not permeates the skin of this body. I've said it before. I am a monster. There's a handful of you that will miss me. There are countries and civilizations that will be happy for my dismissal. but understand that this is a future problem. For now, we shall exist. We shall end the problem, and then we will live the lives that we're meant to live. And then when death earns me, I just hope that you will remain the people that you are, whether I am here or not. So pick your head up, and she'll lift Artie's chin up. You too, Odd.
No.
You're already odd. You're already too far on the ground. Look up.
She just lifts her eyes instead. Fine.
Thank you. And my dear Omen, you have a connection with your god that many wish they could. Maybe one day, you'll find a book with my name somewhere. Until then, it's been a very long day, everybody. Eat your tea, eat your cookies, and we shall go rescue a city. Especially the hot dragon lady. She is very pretty, is she not? And Nana will sit down and start drinking and eating.
Hot's gonna lean into Omen and Hardy. Do you think Nana Maisels ever had therapy?
You know, I think it's a likelihood that Nana Maisel might have invented therapy.
Just thinking the
Her
very same
anxiety.
thing.
The rest of your time here goes by in a flash. Time is sort of irrelevant in a place like this, but you value what minutes you have. You eat your tea, crack some jokes, until eventually the Reaper turns back around. And what they're holding in their hand is what appears to be a woven ring made from a daffodil. If I may, my lady, and offers a hand to Nana Maisel.
She'll stretch her hand out like, yes, you may.
You watch as they slide that ring onto their finger, and they begin to speak in a ancient tongue, as described by Omen, a language understood only by death itself. And you watch as all the glass around you begins to disintegrate into sand as it swirls all around you. You see various images play out, a potential future. You see the armies of the Platinum Cross marching on the city, years and years of fake quests until eventually a true threat rises and they are unable to stop it. A desolate wasteland. You see the people you left behind, the people you're trying to return back to, and finally you see your party descending in that elevator next to Samadi's robotic remains. And as you focus in, pulling yourselves back into the fray, you hear them say, "Go now, but remember, you alone have the strength to shape your destiny. You are everything you will ever need to be." Watch as sort of storm reaches its apex, and they say, "Now, rise." You blink, and a sudden rush of sensations wash over all of you, and you find yourself descending down an elevator shaft. You see Samadi's remains, that sort of iron throne, and your party. You are maybe 20, 30 minutes before you got ambushed, as eventually the elevator grinds to a halt and the doors begin to slide open. As the elevator finally comes to a stop, you watch as the metallic doors in front of you scrape open with an almost sickly nails-on chalkboard-like sound. One you're familiar with, as similar to before, a changeling walks out, clipboard in hand. Okay, so eventually we're just gonna have to go. Who are you people?
Hello, my dear. Have you seen WWE by any chance, DM?
I have not, but please explain it to me because I have not, and also to the audience who may not have.
Nana seems to get to crouches down into a 3-point stance.
Oh,
This all
no.
happens within seconds.
Oh no.
And she bolts forward and leaps and thrusts her right shoulder into his solar plexus
Just
and
spears him.
spears him into the ground. And goes, get the plans, get the plans, get the plans!
You watch as they start screaming.
I'd also scream.
We know it's all a lie!
Who are you people?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so you just start grabbing things at random, or
Yes,
like is there?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
you start
yes.
shoving plans into your bag as. After that very poignant scene previous, there is now just Three Stooges style shenanigans happening as you just start grabbing what can only really be considered a smash and grab as they start kind of sputtering as you've essentially knocked the wind out of them as they scream, as they just kind of start backing up, or at least attempting to. Are you trying to?
Your mic cut you off. What did you?
It's Ty. I got it. We didn't need that.
Just toss the thing to the side. It's probably like a grocery list, but you do have now a large pack of seemingly important to non-important items that are from his office.
What was this
I'm
person's
gonna take
name
an
again?
extra second and look for important correspondence. Correspondence.
Okay, roll me a perception check. As for his
Weehaw.
name, you remember that he introduced himself as Vale. Of
Vale.
course, this was when he wasn't tackled to the ground, so
Yes.
he's not had the privilege this time around.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vale. What is the most important thing in this room that we can carry out of here? We're here to save you. We're here to save the world.
What?
We know it's fake. We know all of it's fake. The Platinum Cross has been fabricating the whole thing. We're sorry that it has come to this, but we don't have the time.
Roll a persuasion.
Ooh, persuasion.
I got a 17 on that perception.
All right, so while you're rolling,
Two.
a 7. We'll get to that. With a
2,
17,
0, right?
with a 17, you manage to look about, and it all kind of seems like nonsense to you. It's a lot of schematics, it's a lot of plans, various bits of scripting, all things that would be good evidence if there was such a thing as like video proof. As you begin to look around, you eventually do spot what appears to be a notebook. You see what was essentially dropped by Vale after he was tackled. So you do have that now. With a 2, he says, "Why should I trust you?"
Nana seeming to stand behind Artie as like a figuring with her sword up, ready to strike down. Because we no longer need you alive. So you can either tell us what you need, what we want to know, or I can make sure you say nothing ever again.
Make an intimidation check.
Oh, wait, Nana, we do need them alive. Wait, Nana, no.
Nana.
It's called a bluff.
He's saying that in front of him. He's like, what?
18.
18. Oh my god, you barely passed this. Please, just don't hurt me. I didn't want to. I just want to go home.
We know. Tell us so we can take you there.
We're
The
gonna
chain,
take
the
you
chain.
home.
The chain. Just break the chain.
Last.
You don't have to roll for this. You disintegrate that chain.
Same spot as the last time.
As you let loose this eldritch blast, you notice your powers are just a little bit stronger than before.
Ooh.
As it shatters into a million pieces, and you watch as they begin to sort of limp. Okay, so what's
Okay,
the plan?
No, okay, we're moving.
How do
We're
we-
moving. I'm gonna pick him
How
up.
did we get out?
I don't know. They put me down here. Occasionally as they kind of point up towards the sort of viewing deck, they give me orders through there.
Is there a ladder that like Odd could see?
Not leading up to the platform.
Okay.
Wait,
okay,
you're
okay.
an artificer, correct?
Back to where you came.
Yes.
Nana will grab this guy and, like, the best she can, throw him towards the elevator. Make the elevator move.
Okay.
Oh,
You watch as he tries desperately, but between being tackled and then threatened and then essentially given a chance at freedom, you watch as he sort of starts fumbling with his tools until he drops them and he just starts breaking down. So he just kind of starts hitting the throne, and he is a broken shell of a man right now.
Well, that was all my plans. You have any?
This thing's got to go up eventually, right?
Well,
I
here's
just
the
kind
thing.
it was designed to descend after the fight was over to hide whatever robotic remains were left. It's not supposed to go back up because then that defeats the purpose.
GM, question.
Hmm.
What does this lift elevator look like? Is it fully enclosed? Is it more medieval? With
It
bars?
is like, it's like more technologically advanced than you would say medieval. It's not like a pulley system. It's
Okay.
like a full-on mechanical platform with the throne on it and Samadi's remains. But it was like a sort of, it was, for lack of a better term, an elevator shaft.
Oh, like the
Okay.
haunted
Is
castle. Okay.
there perchance a space between the wall and the elevator shaft that Odd could fit through?
Roll me a perception check.
$23.
23. Yes, there is just enough space between the main structure and the surrounding elevator shaft for you to slide through, if that is what you wish to do.
Yeah, while y'all are talking to the shell of a man, she would see that and just, you'd probably catch the tail end of her like sliding through, just a rustle, and then hear through the walls like, I would like to try to climb on top of this, if
For it.
possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me a roll for it.
You're kind of already in the elevator shaft, so I would say go. You're fine.
Cool. I'm just gonna stand on top of it. So you would hear her little feet pattering across. Is there anything she could see in there that could be of assistance or a clue to what their next step should be?
Roll me another perception check.
Thank you for picking like my best at it.
You're welcome. We love looking at things.
Oh, 9.
A 9. As far as you can tell, it's pretty much just an elevator shaft.
Then another question.
Yes.
Odd carries acorns that, when thrown, something random happens.
Oh no.
It's a D100 roll.
Mhm.
Could I see what happens if I throw an acorn?
Sure. What are you throwing an acorn at?
The air and hoping to hit
Just
like
throwing it.
a wall or something, because it doesn't need to hit something. It's just once
Just
it's
throws.
kicked
Okay, sure,
by-
go for it.
This sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Some various explosions later, like
62.
62. Do you have a table, or was this something for me to do?
So I have a table. Let me scroll and build it.
Wild magic acorn table? That's something I wasn't prepared to hear.
I rarely am.
Oh, hang on, it froze.
I wonder what Odd's doing. I hope it doesn't hurt us. I mean, they're very smart, but I could imagine what it could possibly be doing.
Odd, are you just throwing acorns up there?
You hear the boom, boom, boom.
How can you tell?
Watch as the hope in Vale's eyes at escape is starting to diminish. And is now currently just like huddled in the elevator, mind you, but just arms kind of like just in the fetal position essentially.
Okay, I've got to put this open in another browser. It like keeps giving me a blank page, and I have.
While
it.
that's happening, Nana will take a good look around. There's just the observation deck. Is there a way to get up there, or is it like covered in glass?
It is like a glass viewing area. You remember specifically from the first time you did this, they hit a switch and then the gas started seeping in. As far as you can tell, that platform is like 10, 15 feet in the air, kind of gazing down.
Where did the gas seep in from? Is it a vent above us, a vent below us, to the left and right?
It would have been to the left and right of you.
Oh, Nana's going to find a table and immediately turn it to the side and push it towards the vent, because we've been wasting little time and they're going to come and...
While
Wait,
Nana's
I
doing
got it to
that,
work. Go ahead and do that first.
while Nana's doing that, I think Omen is. They kind of like blasted the chain, looked at their hand with a like, oh, and I think they're like almost looks like talons, for ghostly talons around their fingers for a moment, and they form another one, and they're gonna start blasting at the glass wall to. Even if the gas comes in, ideally it'll seep out, or maybe we could go through there. See if I can break it.
As you like Dragon Ball Z style launch these eldritch blasts at the glass, you watch as they sort of dissipate across it. You imagine that in preparation for essentially holding an artificer, the glass is a sort of anti-magic. As for you, Nanamazel, you do find the vent. You find a handful of them all around the room. They are these sort of like, maybe about like 1 to 2 by 2, and they have the sort of grate in front.
Yeah,
as for, oh, sorry, go on.
Nana's just going to spend whatever time to try to plug those up. Rather, she has to rip parts of her clothing off and just tries to plug as many as she can to buy us more time.
Alrighty. Artur, during this time, what are you doing?
I think I'm just frantically trying to get Vale to understand what's happening. Like,
roll me another persuasion, and then kind of.
Yeah.
What do you say?
It's just okay. So we stole the Platinum Cross's mission thing, and we came to this town expecting we were going to have to fight and save the world. But now we now know that the Platinum Cross is absolutely evil and had set this whole thing up. And then we died. We're trying to save the world, and then but we're back. But a little bit, half an hour before that. So we're trying to do it over again, doing it right. I think it's working. 14.
14? Once she starts to calm down a bit, you are the worst heroes I have ever met.
Yeah, we're from worse.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
We know. Yeah.
As
That's
we cut back to Odd. What did you get?
As you thought you heard this light little clink, it suddenly rattles as if thunderous and loud, almost as if something would come down to cave in, as on the outside of this and up top, Odd stepping back, as you start to see the growth of bark covering, and it keeps growing and growing, knots and branches covering this shaft as a 40-foot oak tree grows.
Huh.
I can't.
We can climb!
This is true. You
And,
watch as the oak tree begins to seep into each individual nook of this elevator shaft until eventually you have now a tree that leads all the way back to the top.
She's gonna try to jump and bust through the ceiling to make a hole. Hey, help me!
Odd, watch out. I've got superpowers now, I think.
I can't.
Or I'm just
much
really
further, but
jazzed.
okay. And she's gonna put herself against the tree. All right, do it.
I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the roof of the elevator.
Alrighty. You let loose a torrent of eldritch power that essentially destroys the top part of the elevator and reveals this grand oak tree and your party member, Odd, kind of hiding behind it. but
No, against
otherwise,
it. Like you see her
against
toes
it.
leaning over there, where you just blast it through.
Gets it as
I got
the pieces fall, and you now have a clear way to the exit.
Odd. You're
what I
amazing.
did. Thank you. Who can't climb?
Baby Vale.
Cool.
Surprisingly, I'm actually not bad at it.
You
Yeah.
watch as kind of Vale looks up
Ah.
to Freedom and you, and we should go. As you start climbing.
Odd would lead the way, just because there's nowhere for anyone to step. You have to go right the climbing. So, like spider monkeying around, just kind of climbing, finding each knot.
Alrighty. So, with nary a moment spared, the 4, now 5 of you are now in the throne room. What was the throne room, essentially. You can see his veil kind of looks about, kind of taking in the breath of all the work that he did to build this place. And just starts walking. Do we have some kind of transportation, some kind of way out, some kind of plan?
I can throw another acorn.
Keep that in your back pocket.
I think
We've
we
got
have-
really evil horses out by the stable, so we just have to run until we reach it.
What?
Let's go. And then
As you begin to run, kind of passing through the various rooms, passing libraries, passing portraits, passing statues, passing entire foyers, you are given pause as a giant light shines down from the heavens, starting to survey throughout the place. Everybody make a stealth check, lest you wish to be spotted.
22.
22. You can choose to do this as a group or individually.
Unless you
Why don't you do
go
this
ahead
as a
and
group?
decide. Yeah, you should do this as a group.
22.
Yeah, you two should do this as a group.
22.
The two of you got 22.
Yeah.
What
I
did
don't know
the others
about
get?
you.
I got a 3.
Uh-huh.
You are a 7-foot bird. I actually got a 15.
That's not as bad. You're good. You covered
Pretty
it.
positive
As,
percentage.
however, as the 5 of you run, trying to make your way onto the city streets, you sort of push past the doors and manage to duck behind a tree just in time as the spotlight shines over. Unfortunately, Vale is not so lucky,
Oh no.
as they rolled a natural 1.
Oh,
And you
poop.
see as the lights shine down on them, and you hear sort of booming, "How did you escape?" As he just kind of puts his hands up and cowers, and you watch as he looks over to the 4 of you. Get out of here. Go.
Odd wants to throw an acorn.
Okay,
Yeah.
go for it.
But if somebody wants to say something before,
I
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Nana is going to grab onto Omen, who seems to be not running quite as efficiently as the rest of us. And during that time, she will turn towards the guy and she will cast command a little outside of the ability. And her command will be survive and will push Omen along.
Okay. What is your wisdom save? It doesn't matter, he rolled really low. You watch as they are filled with this determination as they begin to rise, sort of spotlighted by what you now see to be a giant airship emblazoned with the insignia of the Platinum Cross. As they look to the 4 of you,
We're not leaving
And
you
just-
behind.
they just start running. As they follow after, you watch as this spotlight starts to sort of frantically search once again for them, kind of trailing behind as they are going to attempt to escape it. And I'm going to roll to... Oh my god. They do manage to duck behind, and they lose the spotlight. as the 5 of you are here together, the airship is not leaving. It is still searching. What would you guys like to do from here, as you are currently secluded in this small area, one of the pop-up houses?
Leaving is always a good option, I believe.
Why? I have an idea. From the vision I had about performing, about doom and making yourself into what you need to be. I imagine we've ducked into like one of these little side houses. Are there any animatronics in here?
There are.
Oh no.
Okay. What if we make them think that we're
I kind of get where you're going with this, but I need you to say it for my own.
I think one of them is wearing like a little robot hat. Omen takes. Sorry. Omen takes the robot hat. It's like a little robot top hat, and puts it on their head. And they just like stand, like they just emoji stand. Look, now you don't recognize me at all.
This idea, and that's when she would throw the acorn behind,
Yeah.
like toward those running after them, or the running after them.
Well, it's just the one airship that is currently like spotlighting
there's
all
just-
around like the area. There's nobody on the ground yet, but you do see as they're kind of preparing for like a ground assault, as you have precious moments of safety before they're on you.
Ooh,
What is
okay.
your plan of action as Omen takes the robot hat and puts it on?
So good.
So I rolled, and I got. I use this. Oh wait, that makes sense. I got a blonde hair long wig.
What does that mean?
I don't know. So it's like spawns just a blonde haired long wig. Now it looks like a dead person. That gives us some time.
Let's put the blonde wig on the changeling person who can change their identity.
God.
Disguise.
Wait, that's a bad. He runs
You
towards
do watch as Vale shape changes to look like the automaton. As just like,
Okay.
is this kind of the idea?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
I
think
best
so.
we
I got me. She's running back. You
Nancy
didn't
will look at
even
Artie
me.
going, how was your performance, Monday? The theater is not something I ever took a much interest in.
So are you explaining? What are you trying to do? So
How about you
you're
know exactly what we're trying to do?
I know, but like past disguising. So you're disguising yourselves as automatons, or disguising the automatons as you?
That's a good point.
Oh.
Both.
Can we do both?
Sure, if you'd like to change clothes with the automatons,
Yeah,
you
I'm
can.
swapping my clothes out with the closest automaton that looks like me.
Alrighty, so you managed to do that in the short amount of time between various searches, as finally several of the Platinum Cross's members drop to the ground via a cord and begin searching on the ground. By this point, you have gotten some of the automatons to look like you-ish,
So good.
and you've disguised yourselves. What poses do you take on as you're standing there? Do you try to slip out, or are you just like full on like?
We're trying to. I almost called. That's not their name. Omen. I'm so sorry. My eyes are burning because I've been laughing
Yeah.
too hard and I'm crying. So if I'm blinking, it's because I can't see. It's because my eyes hurt. Omen is trying to like stay still, top hat pose, whenever they're being looked at, and then when they're not being looked at, they're running. It's trying to get toward the.
Okay.
That's the plan for me.
Alright.
It's like playing red light, green light.
Yeah. What about
Red
the rest of you? Are you also sort of following suit with this?
Yes.
Yeah, Odd would follow Omen's lead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bet. So here's how
So
we're going to
sorry,
do this.
everyone.
You do watch as Vale does something on their own. You watch as they kind of look up at the insignia of the Platinum Cross, at these automatons that look like the 5 of you now, as they begin to they go into each of the individual back panels and start hitting buttons and adjusting gears as they snap their fingers, and you watch as all 5 of them rise and start booking it in the opposite direction.
Amazing. Holy
Yes.
peeps.
You
Vale.
guys start to run.
Hell yeah, Vale.
As you say that, that is the first bit of positive reinforcement I've gotten in decades.
Oh.
As
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, very good. I'm very
I've
proud
gotten
of you.
2, as they start running faster almost than most of you, but it is enough to fool some of them as they start charging afterwards. I will say 2 stealth checks from each of you.
Okay.
First leg, and then to get to your carriage.
Have I mentioned that Nana Maisel is not good at stealth?
You're wearing armor.
I am wearing armor.
All right. I got a 17 and a natural 20 for 24.
Okay.
I got a 7 and a 4.
Oh, God.
So sorry.
I got a natural 1 and a 7.
I got a 6 and a natural 1.
Oh, guys. Y'all.
High five. Go us.
You thought the Scooby-Doo-esque plan was
No,
gonna work?
I thought maybe okay, all right.
It was
Okay,
clever.
so between the 2 natural ones, oh lord. So as you begin to run, the adrenaline pumping through your veins, you can feel your heart almost beat out of your chest, the stress, the fear. You eventually make it to the gate, and a light shines down on you.
Shit.
Keep running.
Are you
Yeah, I'm gonna keep running.
Okay, so Odd keeps running. Omen and Artur just stop. Just...
I think they pause for a moment and then on keep running, they're like, oh shit, yeah, okay.
All right, you keep going. The airship overhead, as in this instance, you watch as you've made it pretty far, just to outside the city where your carriage is, and before you can get to it, you watch as a torrent of missiles, magic, cascade through the air and destroy the structure. You watch as your horses roam free, escaping.
Can I use one of my, can I cast shield? It's one of my prepared spells.
May.
It's a reaction
Yes.
upon a reactive attack. And I would grant a +5 AC bonus, but it also says that it takes no damage for magic missile.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's on me. You, without thinking, you hold out your hand, and this protective shield, almost like 2 crow wings, kind of
Yeah.
cover
Oh.
the main structure, and the magic missiles dissipate. As you finally get there, you watch as the light is still trained on you as they say, "Surrender."
No, fuck you!
I repeat that.
You goddamn right! You goddamn right, Omen!
I'm assuming that you're just full
Forces
tilt.
to evil maximum.
Evil.
As
What
fast
does
as they
evil
go.
maximum?
Mm-hmm.
I'm into it.
I will say the bright side of it is because of where the city is situated, there is nowhere for them to land because of all the trees in this valley.
Oh, hell.
As you start charging, I need whoever's driving to roll me an animal handling check,
That would be
or
neat.
dex, or a sleight of hand,
I'm
depending
assuming
on
the
who wants
druid
to.
probably has a better
got a-
handling than the
I-
rest of us.
Yeah, I've been rolling like
I
ass
do.
today, so
I've got a
none for
+3.
me.
I have a +5,
Okay.
Oh,
never mind.
yeah, that's you, Odd.
but I only got a 9.
9.
Mhm.
Alrighty. You.
No, wait. I get advantage.
Oh.
Let's go! Oh,
Oh my god.
Yeah, better. 22.
22. Okay, that's a
Small
lot
difference.
different than
Yay.
9.
that's a small difference.
You watch
Not
as.
on me, please.
Luckily, between shielding yourself so the missiles dissipate, the light trying to scan this densely packed skeletal forest, despite the fact that the trees lack leaves, it creates this sort of mesh network that obscures you from their sight. As with a 22, you watch as they do drop troops into the forest, but as they try to follow after you, you lose them easily. I will need one more animal handling check in order for you guys to get off scot-free.
You with your advantage, let's go.
Well, now that we know what a +5 plus advantage is,
Yeah.
is on the table.
Not
Mhm.
20.
Nat 20.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Let's
There we go.
fucking go!
Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Let's
so,
go. We worst
in-
heroed our ways through this.
in
Can
a
I also
display of...
Add
sorry, go.
in the little story flavor that Odd has grown up speaking to small animals, helping them, not understanding communication. They come up to her for assistance all the time, and she the same to them. So I would like that this moment she was tuning into those said small animals, even if they weren't initially there to help. They catch sight of this bright light and these heavy footsteps clomping, as she would, I guess, get that sense of we're being watched, but not from a negative entity, and zone in on just that, and in a way use eye contact as their form of that communication. As a squirrel would lean its head to the left, and she'd be like, all right, and continue that down.
Absolutely. With a natural 20, for sure. As you start, you're like Tokyo drifting through the forest
Hell yeah.
using this carriage. As you let loose this sort of army of small woodland creatures that populate this forest, you see as a lot of the troops sort of get either distracted or attacked by various critters, as they're just kind of kept at bay as you and the rest of your party escape. It is maybe a few hours of searching, a few hours of not knowing whether or not you'll be found. But as you sort of begin to escape through various bits of the forest, through the valley, maintaining distance from this bright spotlight, you no longer hear the sound of soldiers, and you watch as the airship flies overhead, moving towards the city. But as of right now, you are safe.
Odd falls
If-
on the ground. Back.
If Odd allows it, I think after riding in the back of the carriage, as we slow down a little bit, Omen comes out and, if he allows it, picks you all the way up in this giant hug and spins you around a few times.
Odd would allow that.
Odd, you did it! You did it! That was
Oh,
amazing! I've never
yes!
seen anything like that. That was
Thank you.
that was the most impressive druidic ability I've ever seen. That was amazing.
Oh, man. That's so nasty. And while you're in this a stand-up hug and they're at eye level, they would put their hands around your cheeky beak. And we did it. Also, that thing's very pokey. All right, can you let me down? She wiggles a bit just to be sat back. Whew. How are you feeling?
We did do it. And Nana Maisel, that was we can never thank you for what you've done for us.
I did nothing, my dear.
And Artur, you really got Vale on our side, and we
You and this whole thing would have been toast. I'm putting at our vehicle if you didn't do the thing. I don't know. That thing.
yeah, just, the Reaper's mantle.
It's really
That's
cool.
cool. Oh, it has a name. That's cool.
They tip the little.
I lost my wig. Aw,
I will buy you another one, I swear.
I like it.
Um,
I'm gonna go check on Vale.
Currently ass over tea kettle in the back of the carriage, but
I
does
feel like we
sort
all
of right
pivot.
themselves. He watches their kind of like hand against the side of the carriage, just kind of like dry heaving. So they look over. Very nice. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Freedom, right?
Thank you.
It's good.
Freedom.
well,
You see at the notion, they smile and they kind of take it all in, despite the sort of desolate wasteland around them that was built by them. They sort of feel the dust or the dirt beneath their feet, sort of cool night air. He just repeats, freedom. Freedom. Okay. So, what now?
I think
well, now we make sure that no one ever does this again.
yeah, now comes the hard part, I think.
Now we need to get ourselves in front of the sovereign, I think. With you and with all of this. And they gesture kind of at all the papers and stuff stuffed into everyone's packs.
Watch as he sort of starts looking through a lot of your loot, tossing the things that he doesn't need. You watch as a lot of it's just like random bits of poetry that they wrote for themselves,
Oh.
pictures, drawings, until eventually he pulls out what appears to be a small, like, portrait. It's older than a lot of the other papers in there, and on it is what you can only imagine is him and his family. You see that there is a beautiful elven woman and a small child that kind of has a mix between the two of them in terms of features. You can see the long pointed ears, but the skin itself has these bits of almost like milky white, almost pearlescent white splotches, as all three of them are smiling. And he takes it and he just holds it close and takes out the journal that you had picked up, flips through it. Okay. If your intent is to get me before the Sovereign, you have at least a decent amount of evidence, but they have been doing this for years. They have systems in place, safeguards, and as you watch off in the distance, you got far enough away from the city, but the huge pop-up city of Ursatz explodes. You watch as this huge fireball takes the city and reduces it to ashes. That's it was supposed to happen, but that was more towards the end of things. They love big shows of disaster for the common people. But I'm not really sure what they'll do next. But it looks like they're heading back towards the city.
The Reaper showed us a lot of different outcomes. Ones where we're blamed, ones where we die, or we did die.
Again.
But again, another time, a few different times. But we're not dead yet. We have time and we have almost a plan. All we have to do is get there.
Okay.
Odd starts throwing up
Mm.
after the explosion. Kind of puts her hand now on this.
Then it pats Odd's back. Mhm.
Okay.
Before we move on, I think can I say I kept the cookie from the thing the meal with death. I'm gonna as we're recovering and picking out next steps, I'm gonna pull it out of my pocket and hand it to Vale. Here. I can't eat it anyway. I imagine you haven't had anything other than prison food for a while.
He stands there in shock for like a solid minute and starts with a very slow bite into the cookie, almost like he doesn't believe it's real. And very, for lack of a better term, Ghibli style, just starts taking large bites of it and is just sobbing as he drops to his knees. And I promise you, I will do everything in my power to help you take them down.
Don't worry. I cried when I ate mine too.
It's true.
And
Very good.
we'll make sure that you see your family. Yeah.
Nana will actually take this time to walk over to Vale and kneel now next to him and goes, and before she continues, she looks back to the three. We have to prove our story is true. And we have to make sure that the Platinum Cross's talons are not deeper into the nest. But for now, as Nana turns back to Vale, memory is a thing that is fleeting. Tell me about your family. And she will sit in front of him so that they can talk.
He struggles to remember them, looking down at the picture every so often just to remind himself that they were even real. And he tells this story of simple but happy living, not in the main city, but knew that his talents were squandered where he lived, so he sought to make something of himself by inventing, by creating, and eventually through the Platinum Cross, the people he thought were his friends, the people he believed in. While he didn't want fame, he did want to provide, and so an arrangement was set up. He talks about how through them he would create these mechanized monstrosities, send the money back, and eventually that story ends with their betrayal. He didn't want to create these creatures anymore, and so they locked him away. He's not even sure if his family's still alive or what happened to them, but as that memory gets too painful, he starts telling stories of his child's first steps, what foods they liked and didn't like, and finally ends it all off with how he met his partner. And that story continues on for the better part of the night. And eventually, he relents, stating he doesn't want to talk any of your ears off, and asks you if there are any stories you want to tell, any stories you want to be remembered at the end of this.
I have a story. It is about a beautiful queen. One that ruled her land from hardship to prosperity for over 2 centuries. Many attempts to grab her hand in marriage or take over her land, or things happened over and over again, but she refused them all. Until one day an army appeared, larger than the one that she could ever possibly dream of having, with one simple demand, which was her head. Well, she didn't feel like dying, and so she did the best thing she could do. She faked her death, left her kingdom to a trusted associate, took her youngest with her, and ran into the forest for as long as the trees allowed. and lived a new life, completely devoid of her royalty. Only knowing that her efforts were good by a few messages she received over time. That's a story that I do like.
And as you finish telling it, this is really only something the audience and Nana Maisel would notice. But the daffodil ring around your finger wilts ever so slightly, and a single petal falls, the one gifted to you by the Reaper. You feel one of your heartstrings snap. You're
You
not sure
okay,
how
Nana
much time you
Maisel?
have.
Yes. Old body, stressful day. Sometimes you feel things that are phantom pains, if you will. Get some rest, Omen. You've had a very long day.
I imagine we're all curled up around a little campfire somewhere.
Yeah. Fire crackles and permeates the silence.
When you say Nana's heartstring broke, can you
I mean it
expand
more metaphorically than
Oh,
physically.
thank goodness. All right, just checking.
Something in the fiber of your being snapped. You're
Mm.
not sure what, but you feel lighter almost.
Well, okay.
And as the 5 of you go to sleep that night, we are going to cut it there, unless there's anything you'd like to do. But as our story, this part of it at least, comes to a close, we're going to jump ahead. The journey back to Relay, it takes a week, and that's with good horses. You traveled that distance and you have that travel left to do. Facing little trouble, you do eventually arrive back. However, a little bit prior to that, maybe a day or two before you arrive, a speech is given at the Sovereign's house. We watch as the camera follows through those same doors that you walk through for your ceremony, till eventually we're in the Grand Royal Court. And standing, kneeling really in front of the king, is Saga. You see he is damaged. He is bleeding, or at least appears to be, as he says, "I don't know what happened, my lord. We tried to save them, but they fell to somebody's influence. They attacked us. They may very well be on their way here. I beg of you, tell your guards, report any sightings. They are dangerous, angry individuals who want nothing but to destroy all that we have built. Have we not been your heroes? Have we not proven ourselves on the world stage? Allow us to defend you again. Allow us to eliminate the threat." And you see, as the Sovereign rises and almost looks betrayed and says, "Alert the guards. Seal the walls." And as the camera pans back over to them, you see on that chiseled jaw a smirk as the camera is thrown, landing finally on the party as you travel the road back home. And that's where we're going to end properly this episode. As always, I am HamaSamaKun, your dungeon master for this evening. This has been an honor and a privilege. You can find me at HamaSamaKun, that's HamaSamaKun, on all social media platforms where I do all sorts of fun little D&D things. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Lamar.
Lasses, both, neither, and everyone in between. My name is Lamar. I go by Lamar the Con Guy online. I use he, him pronouns. I am a comedian, singer, performer, host. I will be doing a whole bunch of things in the next year. I've been over to 15 conventions in 2024 alone. I am exhausted. Thank you very much for being here, and I hope to see you guys later. And if you want me to join your table, just let me know. I require attention. I crave attention. I need attention.
So real of you. Sam.
I am Sam, pronouns she, her. You can find me online pretty much everywhere at just Sam, JUSTSEUM, or now a few new socials plus Twitch at Sam, SUM. Or you can find me over on twitch.tv/Wounded Warrior Project on Tuesdays, where I produce and play in a lot of our charity TTRPGs. We have a 3-season Tales from the Loop campaign called Eden Falls that is actually coming out the 12th. The 12th. So for our next installment, 14 years in the future with the same characters, utilizing the system, the Electric State. So that'll be happening soon. And then we also just wrapped up half of a second season of our Lord of the Rings campaign called The Fourth Age, based 50 years after the War of the Ring. All over there. You can go and find the VODs. But other than that, someone go next.
Kappa.
Hello, my name is Kappa. Christian is okay too. I use any pronouns. You can find me on the internet at the Kappa Chris. I'm a writer and performer for TTRPGs. I do a lot of stuff. I'm also one of the co-hosts for R&D, that is Rad and Dope podcast, alongside Wally. That is at Wally132. And right, that's his handle. Yeah, that's his handle. And at the time of this recording, but I think by the time you see this, a few episodes of Frequencies will have come out. It's something. It's a project that I'm very proud of. By Patchwork Productions. It is a love letter from creators to other creators in the TTRPG and beyond. Yeah. Please go check that out. Seriously, it's some of the work that I'm most proud of alongside this project as well.
And finally, C, take us home.
Oh, damn. How do I follow that up? Hi, everyone. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at C Plays RPG. I had the pleasure of playing Omen tonight, and if you liked what I did here tonight, you will like what I do in other places, most notably on Transplanter RPG every Saturday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. You can catch us playing the Chaos Protocol, which is a dark fantasy series following 3 doomed agents of an interplanar organization that works for Fate herself. And it's very sad. It's about grief. It's about viciousness, and it is set in a non-colonial, anti-Orientalist world. So if any of that is up your jam, up your sleeve, if any of that is up your jam, right. if you have jam in your sleeves, check out Transplanter RPG. Maybe if you want your sleeves to look really cool, you could buy my merch at transplanterrpg.shop because I'm very proud of it. So that's all I've got for right now. Catch me making bad decisions and being gay. Thank you. That's me.
Rock and roll. And once more, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'd love to thank my players for being part of this. And we will catch you in our penultimate episode, episode 5, next time. And goodbye, everybody.